Hello, and welcome to Movement Development, a conversation about how the human body develops from the very beginning and through the early years, and how, as early years practitioner, we can support that. We're going to have a brief conversation about whether the development is continuous, meaning little by little, step by step, or is it discontinuous? Is there a pause in the middle of the developmental process? And we'll have that conversation early on. Just something to keep in mind. Is there ever a pause that we are observing? The bottom line up front on this is human development follows a systematic, predictable pattern that begins in utero. From the very beginning, all of our cells are dividing and growing, and then once that happens and they're organized, then there starts to be intentional movement, and that starts even in utero, which is absolutely fascinating. We'll look a little bit more at that later. Continuous growth, forming an unbroken whole without interruption, or discontinuous, having interruption or gaps or pauses. Everything in human development is continuous to some point. Height, weight, acquisition of language, acquisition of knowledge, acquisition of any skill is growing every moment that we are breathing. And at some point, development does stop, and some areas it starts to deteriorate. We're going to be looking at that very early sensitive period of when human development is at its most sensitive. So as a review, to go back, we're going to match the ages and the stages. So here's an activity for you to go through and just give yourself a quick reminder on what happens when in human development.